Hello, everybody, and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am TheOutbackAl.
I'm Chibi Noob.
I'm Envy Jitters.
I'm CheerandCosplay.
And I'm Kozi.
And, guys, we're finally in the semifinals. There's only 4 shows left in our Collect Them All tournament. How does it feel to have gotten this far?
I'm tired.
I mean, yeah.
I'm going to Disney World.
Yeah, my back hurts. Not for any particular reason about this podcast, but just in general.
It hurts from how much you have to hunch over Saturday nights trying to edit it
I'm actually
in a limited time span.
I have a pretty good, sitting position for that, but okay. Anywho, what are we watching this week? This week, we're finally seeing shows from different categories go up against each other. We have the winner of the action figure category, Black Rock Shooter, facing off against the winner of the card game category, Yu-Gi-Oh! Said it before, I'll say it again. I could not have predicted this matchup. Ever. So, I don't know. Any comments, thoughts before we get into this? I think next time we do a tournament, we need to do, the brackets and do, a March Madness bracket, and then, lock all of our predictions away, and then see who got the closest at the end of it.
I like that.
Yeah. Put some money on it. Not that we endorse gambling, but we endorse gambling. Yeah, so why don't we get into this? The first one up is Black Rock Shooter, and this is kind of weird because this was the end of the series for them.
Yep,
So,
only 2 episodes.
Yep. And we should say that if this moves on, we do have a way of having them continue. We're just going to start the series over. I'm kidding. I am never going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to start their second season or their whatever their next series is because, hey, it's connected and it's all we got to work with. So, is what it is. What happened in Black Rock Shooter is what I've been asking myself for the last few days.
You was not actually you. It was her alter Strength who went to the real world in Yu's place because you wanted to fight in the dream world.
You was I and I is you.
Mato woke up.
Mato woke up and became Black Rock Shooter, but wasn't Black Rock Shooter because Black Rock Shooter was a different person. And then Counselor Lady was there, but then everyone came back from the dead who wasn't actually dead.
Yeah, all of their alters. With the power of friendship, they killed insane Black Rock Shooter, but didn't actually kill her.
Yes, because that was the end of that sentence.
Yeah, Strength died, but also didn't die. And then you came back to the real world and they were all friends despite the fact that the counselor clearly tried to kill half of those girls and was psychologically scarring all the other ones on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
As one does.
Just water under the bridge.
Don't tell the counselor about water under the bridge. She might start waterboarding.
Oh, but I guess the key takeaway was supposed to be feel your feelings. Woo!
Was that the takeaway, though?
Yes, it was. You weren't supposed to repress it and let the alters feel the pain for you. Because part of being alive is feeling the pain.
Okay.
Can you feel it, Mr. Krabs?
It was.
I'm feeling
I'd rather
something.
not.
It was so deep. So meaningful.
Was it, though?
Such words.
Much deep. Very wow.
Yes.
Alright, I gotta be real. We gotta get into these categories, because I have opinions.
Look, I would imagine you would.
Mm-hmm. The way you were like, wait, if it goes on, we'll just start it over. No, I would never do that. That's a joke. Ooh. You have some thoughts.
Well, I'm hoping that you have some thoughts, Cece, because you're up first with plot.
Oh, fuck.
Ha, that was a nice segue.
Hey, sometimes they hand me one.
Yeah. Okay. Plot. I'll give it a yay on plot. I found the show fascinating. I liked seeing all the fighting between themselves and their alters in this one. Yeah, it's cool. It's an interesting show. It's yay.
I guess I will also give it a yay. I can understand where the plot might be confusing for some people, but I have now watched this multiple times, so I already kind of done knew what was going on. I think it wrapped up okay-ish. They did leave a lot of, like, unanswered questions and world building that you're like, but wait, what? But, you know, we are going to hand wave at it like you have told us to hand wave at all the other stuff in this tournament about suspension of disbelief. I am too tipsy for this.
Whose fault is that?
That's a question. Yep, that's it. That's all I got.
Well, I'm glad someone else said, yeah, we're supposed to just hand wave stuff. I gotta be real here. I feel like I'm a full nay here. No, maybe not a full nay. I think you guys have a point of, like, this is an interesting show, but, and I'm gonna be real, I tried coming into this week with an open mind, being like, okay, maybe they'll do, like, a good job wrapping everything up and figuring everything out and explaining what needs to be explained, and because I don't understand what's going on after the last time I watched this. But I had that thing about, this is gonna be a snake eating its own tail kind of thing.
Straight up told you
and
that you weren't gonna have a good time with this finale.
I tried. I really did try to keep an open mind about it, but it really disappointed me.
You really wanted answers to what this world was and how it came to be, but
I don't know.
Hand wave,
Maybe just
Al,
like
hand wave.
maybe like to some. Here's the thing about the hand wave. To some degree, we have hand waved some stuff. Some general things of like, oh, this world takes card games too seriously. Things of that nature. Sometimes these elements of, okay, you're now transported to another world. These are premises that are just kind of there to start the plot, but this seems like a show that's actually, like, serious, as opposed to what a lot of the other shows in this tournament have been, where it's like, this is for fucking children, and they don't need a detailed explanation of stuff. This is very much not for children. And to some degree, I feel needs some explanation of what's going on and why.
hand wave harder, like you're a bell at a ball.
I would love to hand wave so hard I start slapping people in the face in this show a little bit. But I can't reach into my computer to do that. It's not that new of a computer. So, I'm I'm really glad you took the initiative to explain the plot earlier, because I couldn't have. And I don't think I fully get what the hell happened. You have a nice little twist of you was not you, but you was not other you. And other you was you the whole time. And I was me, thinking to myself, why am I watching this?
And we are all together.
I gotta be real. I don't know anything about you. You know what? This is a character thing. Never mind that. Don't worry about that. I don't know. I felt like the show got very up its own ass right at the very end. And I wish I could better articulate it. I really do. But
It went very Inception.
See, here's the thing. Inception makes sense to me. And that's the problem that I have. How is this not making sense to me?
Because they tried to do it much quicker for what is a much more needed to be drawn out premise.
And maybe that's why I'm not going to give them a full nay. I don't want to give this a full nay. And I'm not going to give it a full nay, because to some degree, I think a lot of the stuff here, and I'm not just talking about these episodes, I'm talking about the whole 8 episodes that we watched for this entire tournament. I think the premise is interesting. I think the concept of what you're doing and like all that sort of stuff is very interesting, But you're right, and I think that's kind of the ultimate problem is they didn't have enough time to flesh out what was going on or explain anything or have these sort of things for a show that's tone kind of requires a little bit more explanation for me. It feels like it's trying to say something, but doesn't have the time to say it. It feels like it wants to do something very badly. It looks like it has the competence to do it, but doesn't actually have either the time or the budget or the commitment or something, that it just sort of falls apart. And I'm mostly talking about the plot here. We'll get to other spots in this, but I really was let down by the plot here, because I don't feel like it knew what it wanted to do. This screams of anime-only ending.
Supposed to watch this for the plot.
Yeah, no, I did watch this for the plot, because I know the other reason that people watch this, and I'm not a pedophile, so, you know, I don't know, man.
Thank you for clarifying.
I feel like I've said enough. I'm enlightening. Oh, Yin's not here.
Yin.
They texted me their stuff. We don't get a detailed thing, so I don't get to do the robot voice today. But
Ew.
yeah, I know, but Yin was Yin was along the same lines as me. They're a light nay here. Chibi?
I'm also gonna give it a light nay. Mostly because I'm also just kind of like, what was that plot twist?
See,
I also am in agreement with, like, we needed more time for this to, like, really get fleshed out, because there is a lot more to be said, and I understand, like, mental health perceptions, America versus Japan, are quite different. Also, like, I feel like this really needed to get workshopped a lot more before it actually, like, went anywhere. Like, I feel like they needed a committee to give them a bigger budget for this.
Mm-hmm.
Because this was just, ooh. Like, there are things that I can appreciate about it and what it's trying to do, but they just too rushed, and it was just sort of, like, cobbled together. Like, the transitions between, like, school scenes and, like, their altar scenes are kind of just, like, I don't know. And granted, maybe I'm just talking about it, like, broad strokes. Not necessarily these 2 episodes, but I feel like it definitely sort of was, like, shoving a bunch of stuff in all at the end and then just kind of, like, giving us this big plot twist, like, whoa! Like, I'm sorry, like, yeah, I can work, but sometimes, like, if you're just not building up for that plot twist with, at least with me, I feel like it'll just be like, what the fuck are you doing?
That's the bitch of it, isn't it? Like, because
Yeah.
I that plot twist, I was kind of going to cover that in character, but, like, that's, like, I could see that being really good and changing your entire perspective on a show, but I don't fucking know anything about you. And you tried to cram that in. You need 4 more episodes.
Yeah.
Flesh it out. Like,
they needed
they
needed a full season for this.
Yeah, it's like you can see
And
a good
that's more
show
of
in
a-
this.
That's more of a production thing, but
Yeah.
I definitely feel like extra time would have certainly helped, like, get it to be a lot more cohesive. And yeah, honestly, like, I get the plot is to, like, and I think maybe another part of this is, like, these 2 episodes, like, I get the messages to, like, feel your feelings. As someone who has been feeling her feelings for, like, a month now, I'm like, I really don't want to be watching this. So maybe that's also, like, turning it a bit sour, but I've also just not really been enjoying the show in general, so that's my 2 cents. Envy?
Well, I'm going to be right in the middle of the 2 groups. I'll be a meh overall, because I think there are some good ideas and good themes that the show is trying to work with, but at the same time, I do agree that, and I think I said this during the first or the second time we talked about this show, but I felt like, yeah, it needed at least a full core, like 12 to 13 episodes. Like, those extra 4 to 5 episodes would have definitely done to flesh out the story and what it was trying to tell. I mean, I think obviously there's a lot of, modern streaming shows that get away with having 8 episodes, but they're usually like 45 minutes to an hour long episodes, not 23-minute episodes. So yeah, I do agree. And I was thinking about when I was watching the show and I was watching the ending. I was thinking back to what Al you said during the first time we talked about the show. You said that it's one of those shows that thinks it's high or mighty compared to what it is, or like
No,
what
I
did
think
you
I
say?
said it thinks it's smarter than it actually is.
Yeah, smarter than it actually is. Yeah, and I kind of got that sense a little bit too watching the last two episodes. Like it was like it felt like it was telling this big epic story with these big impactful messages that it's going to stand the test of time. But it could have, but maybe not the way it was presented. So I'm just kind of like a meh overall. Like I pretty much watched these two episodes to see how the characters would end up at the very end and if it would be a happy ending or not. It technically was, so I guess there's that. But as far as making complete and total 100% sense, or trying to get the symbolism out of everything, not really.
If I could also add another thing, and I believe this has been said before in earlier episodes mentioning this particular show, but this is a show that is made for the fans, not for casual viewers. So a lot of stuff is not going to make sense to us because we're not prior fans of the show or the franchise in general. So
I feel like a lot of times you do that, though. It is a bit of a knock against whatever it is, because whatever an adaptation is needs to be able to hold on its own without relying on previous knowledge as much. If you have previous knowledge of something and it enhances the experience a little bit, like, that's good, but you shouldn't. If you're watching something and like you're required to have read these whatever or played this whatever or this thing or that thing, like, well, then you don't really stand on your own at all, and you can't. That's a bit of a problem for whatever piece of media that you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. May
I
I
agree.
propose, if this moves on, that we maybe watch the OVA? Because I feel like the OVA is honestly the better done story that they might have been trying to approach with this. Like, it's different, but it works because it's really only focused on Mato and Yomi.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. That does interest me. To some degree, I feel like... Because how long is that OVA?
it's
50
only
minutes.
about like 50 minutes. I'm going to just say this. I watched that OVA. That OVA makes a lot more sense than this did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I don't think we should do it for this tournament, because I feel like whatever is moving on, we're going to need longer a little bit. It's kind of weird putting like a short movie up against episodes of a TV show kind of thing. So I feel like it does kind of need to be TV show v TV show. But if we want to watch the OVA at a later time just on the podcast, I absolutely want to do that, because I feel like the way you describe that, it sounds like the best version of this, and I would like to see a good version of this. Like, more than anything, I'm just disappointed that I didn't get what I wanted, like an actual, what felt like a complete story kind of thing. But I feel like we pretty much talked the plot to death. We should probably move on. Kozi, can you lead us into characters? Which characters are we killing?
I'm kind of just a meh on this. Like, they didn't do anything wrong with the characters, but I feel like there was no real characterization going on within these last two episodes, despite them trying to. Like, we get the motivation for the teacher and alternate you revealed, and like we get to meet the real you, and it's just kind of like I guess. Like, none of it makes them stand out as characters. And then to have all of the girls come back in that ending sequence, but like it didn't really have an impact on them in the waking world. It was just kind of like a flop, I feel like. I don't know how to phrase this.
I feel exactly what you're feeling.
Like, they didn't tie up character stories. Like, it didn't feel like any of the girls really came to a resolution.
Yeah.
for any of the problems they were facing.
That's fair. I do have something to say about that, but I will wait my turn.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, because I think I said a little bit like this weirdly enough felt like an anime only ending where everything sort of ends very abruptly. And more than anything in the character department, I think you're right. It does feel like, again, 4 more episodes to flesh stuff out might have been very helpful. And I think, yeah, the biggest disappointment is that reveal that you, the character who was technically there the entire time, was not the person that we thought they were. But here's the thing, I don't know jack shit about them other than they burned down their house as a kid. And it ultimately did not impact me at all. That they were not who they said that they were, because I didn't know who they were. I mean,
also, like, she de-aged to be Mato's best friend somehow.
hold up, was that a thing?
Yeah.
Did not know that, so yeah, they clearly didn't tell me that one.
She was Mato's childhood friend.
Okay.
When she was looking for Yu's house, it was showing, like, all the flashbacks of them together.
I thought those were false memories. That's why she was blurred out. But she was definitely the counselor's aide. They were in school together. And then she's now in school with Mato.
I feel like I'm getting even more confused as we talk about it.
Yeah, like, her body didn't age. And I don't think she would have been friends with Mato if she hadn't, like, actually physically de-aged, I don't think. Like, what would have made her pick, like, the one person who just happened to be Blackrock Shooter? Because I don't think they knew who their real-world counterparts were.
Maybe they did. They all look alike. I don't know. It's a thought. The thing for me is, like, that should have been such a good twist. I don't think you've all seen it, so I won't say what movie, but there was a movie very recently that had a similar twist that straight up blew my mind when I saw it. Again, not going to say the movie, because yeah.
Us?
Fucking hell! I said I wasn't going to say well, now you know what the twist of Us is.
Oh.
Yeah.
The movie.
Oh, no, I meant Us isn't.
Okay, no, all right. You know what? That's my fuck up.
Podcast,
I am sorry.
Yes,
I am sorry. That is my
Us
fuck
is
up.
old. Us is old.
Yeah, but how many people have seen it in this group?
How
Not
many of
me.
the people in this group actually like horror movies, besides maybe Chibi?
I'll be honest, I wasn't paying attention to that segment, so...
All right, completely forget it. I'll show you a
Are
movie
you
later.
into horror movies, Envy?
Not really, but I guess
Then
I'll
it
watch.
doesn't matter.
Okay, fine. So, yeah, the twist of Us was that the main
Well,
character...
I was going to watch it at some point.
Well, shit. Oh, well.
It's okay. He wasn't
But
paying
again, yeah.
attention.
Hey, if you took anything, Us is a really good movie.
Anything by Jordan Peele is good.
Nope was okay. I don't think it stood up as much to Us and Get Out, but still good.
I would
See
say
what
Us
happens
is
next.
his weakest.
What?
I liked Nope.
Nah, I would reverse that. You know what? I'm going to say this. This is something else we could do on a different podcast. But
This is Patreon
Patreon
content.
content.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm like, where's the Patreon content comment?
Yeah, so I was giving Blackrock Shooter, like a lot of like yays, like yay, whatever, early on in this, and this one really dropped the ball, but I give it a meh overall, just because I think at the end of the day, I just didn't care. And it's like, I didn't hate anyone, but I didn't like anyone by the end of this. I got some butt crack,
Like,
and that's
they're-
great, but it wasn't
They're
enough to
still
give me a game.
decent characters. They just
They are.
didn't do anything with them.
Yeah, you just dropped the ball you had momentum, and then you tripped up at the finish line. So, I give it a meh. What did Yin say? Yin also said meh. Wait, was that for
Yeah.
that? Hang on.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, that was meh. Sorry, they sent
Okay.
it to me in like a big block, so it's a little, I gotta like, wait, was that for this or that, or what was that? Go ahead.
I'm also giving it a meh. Like, I feel like they did character work with a lot of them, like, when we got all introduced to them. However, it seems like a lot of the characterization with them is more just their trauma. which I understand because for a lot of people, like, that can make up a large part of who they are because it can affect them so deeply. However, it's a little bit unsatisfying with their characters because we don't really get a lot of resolution with them, as, like you were saying, Kozi. So it's kind of like, I really want it to like some of these characters and I want to root for them, particularly because they're going through some shit. But it's really hard when a lot of the times they're just kind of also sort of bland and I'm not really getting a whole lot more else from them. So
can we talk about how awkward it would have been for the counselor, where to the sleeping Yu's body, she's like, I'm choosing you this time, Strength. I want you to be the one that lives, and then actual Yu is the one that comes back.
I feel like I really blocked out some of these episodes.
Like, way to shoot that in the foot.
Womp womp.
Yeah, she wanted Strength to live. And I feel like that could have been a really great moment of characterization for her because she was very Yu-focused to, like, make up for her guilt in ignoring what she had in front of her, but then they just fucking off Strength.
Wait, you know what? I'm not going to ask questions. It's just going to keep it going.
Again, I think this is a problem with plot.
The counselor should be in jail.
Oh, no, we can all agree on that one. Yeah.
Envy!
Go.
Did you have anything else to add, Chibi?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I guess any positive feelings I had towards the characters in the last 2 episodes was based on how the first 3 episodes started, because I really enjoyed the first 3 episodes when it, set up the world and its intrigue and thinking, hindsight's 2020, but like back then I thought, okay, was this world a personification of the other the girls in the real life? And to an extent, yes, but it's also a real place, and you kind of don't get a lot of like the actual Black Rock shooter, the figure of the franchise. She's just basically, I know in the other show, the show that came out in 2022, she's the main character, and the other characters are the characters that were in the other world. So it's focused on that. But as far as this anime, all Black Rock shooter is a plot device and someone who gets the shit kicked out of them multiple times an episode, but never dies. So, yeah, I mean, the other girls, I do agree with what Chibi said. The main selling point, or I guess the main driving force with these girls, is their emotional problems, which, I mean, you kind of hope to have a little bit more with your characters, not just emotional damage. But, I don't know, I guess I'm just kind of a meh overall. I didn't hate the characters, but I didn't think they were amazingly written either.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna agree. I'd say they're a meh. We didn't get too much new things from them, except for Real You, I guess. I do want to say, when I found out that Strength was the one in the real world and You was the one in the fighting world, I turned to Kozi and I was like, oh, is that why she hasn't aged in the last 15 years? Is it because she's not like a real human? And then I was really hoping that when You woke up back in her body, I was really hoping she would wake up as like a 40-year-old. I think that would have been so funny.
Well, hold on. If they don't age in the other world, then wouldn't they all be children? I mean, more children than they already are? You know what? I don't want to keep thinking about it.
I was going to say, don't
I
question
don't
it.
think the thought.
Let
I don't
me-
think you're supposed to think about
We
it too
don't
deeply.
Let me
don't
hand
know why
wave.
you didn't
Let me
age.
hand wave. It's cool. We'll hand wave. Let me change the subject to advertising. I'll lead us into that.
Okay.
Nay. I feel like I've said it enough. I don't know what they're selling. I don't want it. Yin, thoughts? Also a nay, I'm assuming for... No, wait, they said light nay. They might now, maybe a tiny bit want a figure. I have no idea. Because they're not here to say. But, yeah.
I'm also gonna give this a nay. Yeah, I don't want any of the merchandise. I don't want what this thing is trying to sell me. No, thank you. Goodbye.
It's selling you Xanax.
It's selling me Xanax.
I have made that.
White
How many
face.
times have I made that
Shit,
joke
I do
about
need
this?
that.
Oh no, maybe it's not selling you therapy because the counselor
was-
tried to kill her.
Yeah.
Just
no,
remember,
it's
your
not-
counselor
it's
will try to
not-
choke you out.
It's not selling me therapy. It's trying to tell me therapy is bad.
Yeah. Therapy is bad. Just
Also-
feel your feelings. You can do that
Also-
on your own time.
Also, it's trying to tell me, hey, you want emotional trauma? Here's a waifu to represent it. But whatever. I'm done with this.
Or if you want to forget about your trauma and pass it along to somebody else, just beat the physical personification of somebody else until they die, and then you'll forget about them. So, there's that.
Hey man, amnesia solves everything.
Well, like I've said the past 2 times we've talked about this, it's a nay in terms of advertising the waifu figurines because they really don't showcase them too much in comparison to, other waifu stuff. As far as, the actual franchise as a whole, it's kind of a mixed bag. I am interested in seeing the OVA just to see how they tell this story differently. But unlike before, I'm kind of really not interested in, going into the sequel show that much because, they'll go over the stuff in the other world, but what's to say that it's going to be just as uninteresting or the same level of interest as this show? So, who knows? I guess it's a meh overall.
I'm gonna give it an A. As much as I really liked this show, Ian's speech from the last time kind of got to me. Like, this isn't selling anything. It doesn't fit in this tournament, I guess. And it's kind of weird that it made it this far. I do want to see more of this. Watch the OVA, the other seasons. I want to try to find the game, but it's an A.
Okay, I'm a meh. I think it's selling waifus. Very clearly, it's selling waifus. And I think they did a really good job of making the waifus actually, look cool and edgy and, interesting. We're just not in the market for them. I think their marketing is effective for their target audience. I'm just not buying it.
Okie dokie. Yin, why don't you not take us into production? They gave production a yay.
Production, I'm giving a light nay.
Ooh, spicy.
I mean, so visuals are pretty okay, as far as 3D and whatnot. However, I feel like, and I've already talked this to death before, they could have really used more budget. They could have used more time. A lot of could have been done with this to make this a really, really good show. And the premise is good and everything. And what this could be great. However, production dropped the ball because I really feel like a lot more needed to go into this. So I'm mostly giving it a light nay for that.
I kind of agree in terms of behind the scenes production. As far as on screen production, I still think the show is technically a good looking show. I think the animation's pretty good. I think the action's pretty good. I think the background music's pretty good. I still think the animators and the designers did work their ass off for what they were given. It's just, I do agree that the production committee should have given this a lot more attention to. And maybe they didn't think it would sell that well. Maybe they didn't think getting a full season's worth was worth it. But when most anime get 12 to 13 episodes, and I've seen, well, not personally seen, but I've seen or have heard of anime that are pure garbage, trash, the premise is shit, and they get a full core season, but yet something like this couldn't, that had potential. It makes you wonder what the decision making was behind that. But in terms of what was put on the screen, I'll give production a light yay.
Yeah, I think I agree completely with Envy. It looks gorgeous. It could definitely use a few more episodes at the very least. So, light yay.
I'm gonna give it a full yay. It looks good, it sounds good, the designs are good. I hear what you guys are saying, but I don't think that can fall under production because they did what they could with the 8 episodes they were greenlit for. It's not a production thing if the managers and CEOs up top don't let you animate a full season. Like, does it suck? Yes. But, like, for the story they had to tell and as little time they had to tell it, I think that is just an unfortunate casualty that happens to corporate greed. But, like, the actual production that went into this was top tier. If they would have been greenlit for, like, those extra episodes, I don't think we would have had any complaints about this.
I mean, I don't want to echo too many points here. I do think this looks absolutely gorgeous from start to finish. I think the score was good. I think the sound design was great. I even thought the dub was good, of all things. Like, we've had some, things here and there with dubs in this tournament where, like, some of them are bad, some of them are good, some of them are fun, some of them are... This was actually a decent one, well acted. So I want to give everybody points for that, and I want to give points to the team that put this all together. This should be a full yay, but I can't entirely agree with you there, Kozi, because literally the producers did not let the production produce the show they should have. And I gotta knock them down to a light yay for that. I still gotta give them a lot of points. But you needed more episodes, and that is part of production, is figuring out how much you are going to make. I gotta knock them a point on that.
I'm just saying, I don't think the producers are the one who made that decision.
That's, like, literally what they do. Like an executive producer and other people like that. They're like, hey, here's the allotted money. Make a thing out of that. And if they don't give you enough, then production is hampered. Because you're part of production.
No, I don't think that's how it works in Japan, though. I don't think that's how it works.
I can only work
anime.
with what I know how to work with.
There's a production committee. Every anime gets a production committee, and
I get that.
Usually, it's not. Maybe it's the head of the anime studios that get involved, but a lot of times it's the publishers of the manga or the light novel, or even higher ups, like in the corporate production committees in general, like the big production companies that manage a whole bunch of stuff. So, like something like Walt Disney or something like that, like what the equivalent of that over there. They'll put together what they want to make as an anime, and then they get a production committee, and then from there, the production committee pretty much picks the staff, and they pick the anime studios that work from there. So it's a little bit of both. The production committee is pretty much the ones that are in charge of putting it and greenlighting it together, and then from there, the studios have to work with the parameters they're given. So it's a little bit of both perspectives.
I get that. I'm just saying that you can't act like a poor decision is not included. The production would not exist without the poor decision. We wouldn't be talking about this had they not made the decision to make it.
Mm-hmm. I'm not arguing that. I'm arguing that it was an outside decision, not by the company that was actually producing this, to limit it in the way it was.
Can you say that for sure? Who made the decision to make it 8 episodes? Because you're saying it's outside the company. Well, who outside the company gets to make that decision?
They outsource all of the production to animation companies. The production companies are just slapping their name on it.
So you're saying they own the production?
No, they own
and
a
what are we
brand,
judging?
And they're giving
Okay,
funding.
we're not going to get anywhere. We're not going to get anywhere with this between you and me. We're just going to have to agree to disagree on this.
They're a bank. They're
great.
loaning money.
Great. Wonderful. Chibi, take us into final thoughts.
Final thoughts. This is a light yay. I see the potential with this one, but I feel like there are too many things that I feel like still needed, like, more work. So, that's my thoughts.
I mean, overall, I would say final thoughts. I think it's a fine show. Like, I gave it a 7 out of 10 on Mal when I finished it. I didn't think it was bad. I just didn't think it was amazing either. I've seen a few anime where they start off promising, but then it just kind of falters at the end, either for the plot being too confusing or too convoluted, or the show goes up its own ass a certain way. Like, there was a show that me and Chibs watched in college together. It was called Occultic 9. It was made by the same writer that wrote the original Steins Gate back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And it started off promising. We were watching it every week. We were theorizing with each other. We were trying to figure out where the plot was going to go. But then by like the last 3 episodes of the show, it just got way too complicated for its own good. I didn't understand a damn thing what was happening.
The plot twist had to go off the rails in a way that I'm just like, huh?
And to a lesser extent, I feel like this show kind of did. Like, I still wasn't like completely lost, but at a certain point, I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever happens at this point. Whatever gets us to the resolution fast enough. So, and which is a shame, because I feel like, yeah, this definitely could have potential, but nowadays it's probably going to be one of those things where, like, unless you're a very, very, very dedicated weeb to watch every single anime that comes out, or you're doing a tournament like this, you're probably not going to think of this property or watch the show. So it's kind of, I'm still going to give it a light yay because I still like the show, but I wouldn't give it anything higher than that.
Cool, I'm gonna give it a full yay. I really liked this show. I had a good time. It feels kind of wrong to say I had a good time when none of the girls in this show had a good time, but...
I'm a yay. I like the franchise. I like where it ended. I don't know if I necessarily want to continue this further on into the tournament, but...
I'm a light nay. And the bitch of it is, I really want to like this, but I mean, you know, I've said a couple things today that just, you know, it's like I see such a good show in this, and because it had great character work, it looks beautiful, but God, that story just falls completely apart. And I mean, at the very least, it makes me want to watch the OVA, but I can't put that as like a yay for this particular show. I don't know. I don't want to give it a full nay because I don't think it deserves that. But I can't give it a yay myself, unfortunately. So I'm gonna give it a light nay. Yin's thoughts are meh. I think that's it.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Any final thoughts before we move on to the contender?
Nope.
Okie dokie. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Sort of
Yes, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Almost the opposite tonally, as far as we can get, I think.
Well, it's still pretty dark when you think about it.
Oh boy. Is it, but is it not?
It's one of those shows where if it actually had a serious tone and wasn't a Saturday morning cartoon, it'd be really depressing if you think about it.
I think
people are...
Mm-hmm.
I think you're thinking of, I think they call it Season 0, the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime that came out before this, that I think actually involved murdering people, but, you know, I could be wrong. I think we'd have to check that out at some point.
Oh, no Shadow Realm in that one?
No, I think they just kill people. I don't know.
What?
I could be wrong about that. I just think I've heard that it follows the manga more closely or something, and the manga's darker. I don't know. Anyway, these were a thing, because first we got to start with our freaky fish guy, Mako Tsunami, cousin of Johnny, and he fries some fish, which catches our protagonists in his net, and he's like, haha, perhaps we'll duel one day, and then he throws a spear at somebody. Well, sorry about that, not a spear, a harpoon, let's be specific, and he says, I challenge you to a duel. I'm like, you literally could have just said, hey, let's duel. Like... escalated it very quickly, but that's going to be a running theme throughout these episodes. So he uses a bunch of fish monsters versus Yugi's not fish monsters. There is no rulebook for this game, let's be clear. But Yugi wins in the end for... You know what? I think me and Kozi are going to go into heavy-duty detail on that. Kozi, are you with me on that?
No, I tuned a lot of it out after Mako's episode. because I got tired of commenting like every 3 seconds about how that's not how that works.
Yeah, are you ready to go into full detail when we get to that portion? Because I'm going to go into full detail, too.
Go for it.
We're going to have fun. We're going to have fun today.
I will say, I'll get into it when I talk about plot, but I feel like these 3 episodes didn't focus a lot on the duels themselves as compared to the last 3 episodes. It was more of the drama, like behind the scenes stuff.
You know what, Envy? You are right. I think the Mako one definitely is about the duel and whatnot, but after that, we get it back into our corporate espionage plot that's been slowly bubbling under the surface a little bit, because Pegasus kidnapped Kaiba's kid brother in an attempt to take over Kaiba Corp. That kid then climbed out of a castle window and dropped into a forest, stole...
no, he dropped to his death. There's no way he survived that.
Yeah, no, I know. He definitely did. But, cartoon physics and whatnot. We have to hand-wave a lot of things in this world. But an 11-year-old dying might have been a little much for the show.
Why not? They go there later.
Oh, no, yeah, they do. There's a whole lot of dead people in this. There's more dead people than there should be in the show. Or less. I don't know. Maybe there should be a lot more. You know what? That's a contemplative thought for another day. Anyway, he steals some people's stuff. We meet a guy with unicorn hair who is throwing people off the island because their stuff got stolen.
No.
Yugi
it's not
shows
because
up.
Their stuff got stolen.
Yeah.
He's kicking out the people who are disqualified.
Yeah, but this guy's kind of getting kicked out because his stuff got stolen. Because now he doesn't have his
he's getting kicked out because his stuff got stolen. But I do want to question Kibo just completely ignoring the 2 people there without any starships or even gloves.
I mean, right? Like, how well are you doing your job? Also, not to get into it, but they took a cruise ship to get to this island, but now everybody has to row back. How far are they from land? It is not made clear at all. But, yeah, so they got to go get this kid's stuff back. They find Mokuba. He tries to steal Yugi's stuff again, but also beat Yugi, but can't do it because he doesn't actually know how to play the card game. But no one knows how to play the card game, but he's also a protagonist, so it's fine.
I mean, he might know how to play the card game, but he had a stranger's deck.
Yeah, it's also a shitty deck, I'm gonna be honest. Gets re-kidnapped, which will become a running theme, if anyone was wondering.
Oh, yes, and they tried to stop the kidnapping by saying, let's duel for the child. And the guy is like, cool, I'm going to take the kid, meet me in 4 hours. And they just, they're like, okay, bye.
We have to assume that he was just holding the kid in the headlock for 4 hours standing there.
That was not a headlock. That was full out.
Okay, it was a chokehold. Yeah. But, like, I'm assuming, how many times does Mokuba die in these episodes?
Well, I'm just saying. Kibo could have just not shown up.
That's also true.
Left.
I mean, I think that man has too much pride not to show up. I mean, you saw what happened when he got judo flipped. He Uno reversed a judo flip and then drop kicked a guy. This is a man who's not afraid of anyone. Everyone gives some points to him.
Pegasus tried to kill Kaiba.
Oh, yes, he definitely did. With those 2 men and their invisible guns.
The finger guns.
Finger guns.
Yep, finger guns.
Poor kids.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah, so how do I escape? I jump out a window to my assumed death, come back as a zombie to fight Yugi, but it's not me because I'm not a zombie, and then I have to Batman my way into my Batcave. With an original soundtrack piece for the whole sequence.
I know.
I
was listening to that music and I'm just like, oh no.
I can't speak for Yin, but we did watch these episodes together and they were kind of just following along the whole time, not really saying a whole lot. But as soon as that music starts, she's like, what is this music? Like,
early
it's part of the show.
Baby.
They had a soundtrack.
The house sasses Kaiba for having to break into his own mansion.
Oh yeah, she's basically Karen.
Kaiba would be the one to give himself a sassy computer that he could back sass as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of sad she doesn't ever really come back.
Yeah,
well, that's
such a shame, right? They had a whole season that was inside 2 different sections of the show that were inside computers, and she doesn't show back up again. That's a real missed opportunity.
Dang.
Anyway, she helps him hack into Industrial Illusions and Pegasus's castle and computer mainframe, do some corporate espionage, some light international terrorism, and a few other things. He 9/11's a building. This is all just glossed over.
Is it
But
international terrorism?
all in the attempt of finding where Yugi is on this island.
Oh, by the way, he's trying to find Yugi because he's having an identity crisis after the duel.
Yep. That's what's more important. Not,
but no. It's
there was
not
an
even
attempt
an
on my
identity.
life.
It's not even an identity crisis. Yugi literally says, "I knocked the evil out of Kaiba," and it's that evil that came back. It's the hologram.
It's not him.
No, but Seto himself is having like an actual crisis of identity over losing that duel.
Yeah.
He did quantum analysis of it.
Yeah. What does that mean?
It means science, baby, and Seto Kaiba does science.
I love it when people use science words to sound smart. We have the shelves at work are quantum storage solutions. That's the brand.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like,
We use the same things at work, too.
It's tiny?
It is.
It's quantum.
It's for storing, what, like quarks?
I believe so. Well,
It was quarks.
quantum's
It's
like a kind of
quantums.
physics, so it's all about atoms.
Yeah, it's like
I thought
atoms
it
and,
was
like,
about ants.
I
smaller.
atomically analyzed that duel, and there's no way Yugi could have won
Yeah.
with what we currently know is the strongest card you can play. Cards?
Cards, I would say
Monster.
cards. Monster,
Monster.
Monster. Yeah, like, you're looking too close. Zoom out, bud.
Yeah, try to figure out how you're able to hack a system with TNT.jpg. Oh, don't you just love, like, really dated, like, depictions of hacking? Something about it just is great.
I mean, maybe he DDoSed Pegasus server.
Maybe. That's a
Could
word
have been a
I don't know what that word means, so you could have put in any... He defragged the hard drive, I don't know.
A DDoS is just like sending a bunch of like refresh requests to the server and it ends up crashing it.
There you go. He gleamed the cube. Okay, be honest with me. If they just started saying random hacker nonsense jargon, it would have fit, right?
I mean, it would have fit because it would have gone right over pretty much any kid's head.
Certainly
did
went
say
over
him
mine.
in.
I like. Can we just like circle back to that? He hacked a corporate satellite and crashed it into a tower, a building where presumably people were working. Like,
Kaiba was behind 9/11 all along.
yeah.
It's one of those things where you maybe don't question it as a kid, or you don't question it when you're watching it, but the older you get and the longer you think about it, you think, wait a minute, did that just happen?
Yeah, like, goddamn,
Question,
dude.
when was this anime made?
2000?
2000?
Yeah.
Oh.
So this would have been actually coming out in America post 9/11, and 4Kids included that scene. That is surprising.
That is unfortunate.
I feel like we have not shared an important piece of information. They've only been on the island for like 6 hours, so from the time of the very first episode, it's only been like 2 days.
Oh, well, hold on. I think it's now 10 hours, because we have to add 4 for how long he was choking out Mokuba. Right. So we should be getting close to sunset, probably, depending on what time of year it is. I'm assuming it's summer break.
It's
Probably.
almost been 3 whole days.
I would say, yeah, it's probably summer break because they go to school like, what, 6 days a week in Japan?
I'm trying to think here. They got to the island at episode 6. Or no, episode 4?
Yeah, episode
And
4.
now we're on
Episode
episode... We've watched up through episode 9. So that's like 6 episodes. They're a little bit
you know
slower,
what?
but weirdly enough, we could almost be watching this show in real time.
You know what? I think it's been 4 days. I think we had a sleep when Grandpa was in the hospital.
Mhm.
asleep when Grandpa got his soul stolen,
Right.
and then asleep on the boat.
Okay. I can see that timeline
So-
making sense.
We're on day 4.
But when exactly did Kaiba make his quantum analysis, run from his company, go to his hideout, do more quantum analysis, make a dual disc portable hologram projector, and then jump out a window to go get back to his mansion? That man is proactive.
Also, basically tell his, 10-year-old brother, hey, you're in charge of the company, bye.
I mean, he's already vice president, according to the wiki page. So, you know.
Wow.
That's a hell of a resume for an 11-year-old to have. Vice president of a major corporation.
Japan's different.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Japan definitely is.
You think we should
We
actually
should talk.
get into
We should talk. Yeah.
Well, we've been talking about the plots, I guess, what the category,
Sorry.
not plot.
A lot happened.
Yeah.
But Envy, please, tell us what you thought of it.
You know, I completely understand if people give this meh or nay because of things not making sense or things being convenient, but I had a blast watching this. It's one of the, I don't want to say turn your brain off at the door, but it was just kind of like one of those things where I was just having fun. And I'll be completely honest, you know me, I did not grow up with Yu-Gi-Oh! I knew nothing about the show other than, Blue Eyes White Dragon. I never knew that Pegasus and Kaiba were enemies. I always thought that Kaiba was the Darth Vader or Pegasus Emperor. So
They're not really
Corporate
enemies.
rivals?
Pegasus kind of wants to fuck him.
I mean, they're adversaries now.
Mm.
But
It's stemming from a place of Pegasus is fucking deathly attracted to Kaiba.
and
I thought he was
everyone
just.
else.
I thought he just wanted the company. He just wanted to
No.
take over the.
Mm-mm. No,
Right, that's what
he's
it seemed
doing
like to
this
me.
specifically to fuck with Kaiba.
Hold up. I don't want to get into kinks here, but financial domination?
I'm sure it works for someone.
Do you think that
Well.
might be why he's going for Kaiba Corp?
Eh?
This
Well-
is Patreon content.
Well,
it's Patreon content.
Well. Anyway, that at least
The way
initially.
Cece just came running.
But
She was
yeah,
up for a minute.
well, yeah, but that surprised me. I did not expect that dynamic, and like I said, if you look at it, from a objective lens, and it doesn't make any sense because the way you were describing what happened, I was just thinking, wow, you are right. That is pretty stupid, or that is pretty weird. But again, it's one of those things where it was just a lot of fun. I was having a lot of fun with the story, and I was engaged. I am still engaged in seeing how, because I have a feeling that Yu-Gi-Oh is going to beat Pegasus. It's a kid's story. It's just how they're going to get to that point. So I am really interested in that, and I'm having a lot of fun with the plot. So I'll give the plot a yay.
This show does not engage me. I am not engaged. I'm sorry, Kozi. I hate to tell you this way. I'm not
Feels like you're
engaged.
serving divorce papers or
How
something.
many times
Wow.
have I said we're divorced?
I'm pretty sure I fell asleep through this one because I do not remember any 9/11-esque attacks.
Didn't we start with this one?
No, you started with Mako.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fish Boy.
No, I mean,
Oh,
when
Like
we
you're
were
watching
watching
it.
it, I think
Okay.
we started with Yu-Gi-Oh!
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You weren't asleep by the end of it. You fell asleep when we were deciding if we wanted to do Blackrock Shooter that night.
I was fully awake for that one. I'll give it a meh. It's working for some people. I can see why it would work, but me and card games, man.
where's that Go
I-
Fish anime?
And also gonna give
Wait.
it a meh.
Where's the Uno anime? Continue.
I
Could
want
be an
one.
episode of Kaiji.
We have at least a poker anime. That's not too far off.
No, I want Uno. And I want it to destroy families.
Wasn't that what they... No. Could have swore I remember. Never mind.
Patreon
Um,
content.
I'm also a meh. I think what this is really suffering from for me is seeing it all in one go instead of on a weekly basis. Because when when you go like a week in between, like you kind of get fuzzy on the details of what happened before, and you're like, yeah, sure, this is a logical progression of things to be happening. And like only the key moments kind of stand out to you. And like it doesn't feel like one silly thing compounded onto another, onto another, onto another, onto another. Like there's a lot going on, and a lot of it doesn't make sense. Is the plot moving? Yes. Do we have kind of a clear-ish idea of where it's moving to? Questionably, yes. The evil incarnation of Kaiba's evil that was bitch slapped out of him, that's a little weird. But I mean, as they really get into like what the Millennium items are and what they do, like, yeah, it's a little weird. You know, the whole battle tournament just kind of seems like so many illegal red flags, and like Al keeps bringing up a terrorist attack with crashing the satellite.
In fairness, that didn't have anything to do with the tournament, technically.
I know, but like, that was just such a wild thing to like include. I don't feel like it served any real purpose to the plot. Besides,
he literally could have been like, oh, I hacked it.
I think it was just to try and make him look cool. There's a lot of plot. It's going somewhere. But, like, man, is a lot of that plot just running straight off a cliff. Or should I say jumping off a cliff?
Jumping out a window.
A rock below.
Into the sea.
Yeah. I'm at least happy that we finally got to show everybody how Hunger Games-y it gets. Because, Kozi, I think you were saying that last time we watched it. This goes full Hunger Games, there are no rules. And that Mako bit is kind of a Hunger Games tactic. Here, I will be friendly and give you fish, and then I will kill you with my spear.
He could have just asked. Like,
Go ahead.
I don't think there was any reason for him to have thrown the harpoon
Yeah,
and be like,
not
you
at
must
all.
duel. Like, I think Yugi would have agreed if he would have just been like, hey, you want to duel?
Like, I gotta be real with you.
That kid is feral. There's no manners.
Fucking...
No.
I do have an issue. It might be like a production thing, but I'm gonna bring it up now. How the fuck did they get onto that ocean stadium?
It can't... They jumped?
There was nowhere to jump to!
What if you jump onto the
climb on
holographic No, then how do you climb up the
No.
tower?
No.
They clearly have leg days for gay, for, at least
For
Leg
gays.
days for gays.
fish. They have legs for days, and they jumped across
That
the
thing
platform.
was very solidly away from the cliff.
You underestimate their power.
Okay, I will throw this out there. I think Mako, given that he probably jumped back onto that cliff from the ocean and then jumped in the ocean again at the end of the episode, might have been able to do it. Yugi, not so much. But he also has magic.
Mm-hmm.
No, he just T-posed, floating over there.
And people still question, do you think that you haven't noticed Yugi gets kind of weird when he duels?
You haven't noticed he goes, Yu-Gi-Oh! And then he gets really weird.
And then
Yeah,
he
but-
grows a couple inches.
You haven't
He
noticed his
screams
voice
his
drops
own
like
name.
6 octaves?
You ever notice how he just gets magical tattoo eyeliner?
To be fair, he
Sorry.
had tattoo eyeliner before. It just wasn't as sharp.
It's better now. Yeah.
He also gets his little lines.
Mm-hmm.
Eee.
Oh god, is my turn for plot?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Okay, so I want to give this a yay. I want to give it a full yay so bad. God damn, this is batshit crazy and I love it. But at the same time, I just said Black Rock Shooter didn't make any sense and I knocked it points for that. I don't want to feel entirely like a hypocrite. I give it a light yay. I feel like anyone who's watched listened to this podcast before knows I enjoy crazy shit sometimes that doesn't make sense. I'll give you caveats, okay. It shouldn't... Yeah, you did not have to perform a 9/11. That was totally unnecessary, and I don't know why you decided to do that.
You like
I-
fart jokes level of like not making sense.
I mean, what's wrong with a fart joke?
No, I'm just saying, like, that's the level you want it to not make sense on.
Yeah, to hack this thing, I need to possibly murder a bunch of people, probably innocent people in an office building is a lot. Unless we are to assume that there was nothing in that building except for the computer, which I very much doubt.
Like it was just like one big building just used for servers?
Yeah, but even those are
Yeah.
staffed.
True.
So it's like...
No, it's just the servers.
No.
You wipe the credit card debt, it returns to 0.
Yeah, but
LMFAO.
even those ones, it's like, oh, but it's all our people. It's the space monkeys.
Yeah, no, a lot of server rooms don't need to be manned. Only
Well, I
when
mean, like
something goes wrong.
A whole building, like a server farm. You need at least one or more people there on staff in case something does
Yeah.
go wrong.
You at least just to make sure that everything is going okay and the temperature control stays where it needs to be.
Yeah, this is us trying to figure out a way to lessen his body count. Because if it's just a server room, likely that building had a lot more people in it.
But if it's a whole farm,
Maybe it had less people, but still, there's people in there.
yeah.
The farm, whatever will they plow?
Your mother. Anywho, Yid, what'd you
Wow.
think?
Okay.
They thought it was a light yay.
Yeah, I think I'd also give this probably like somewhere between a meh and a light yay as far as like plot is concerned. I will say we didn't really get a whole lot of plot with episode 7?
6? 7? Yeah.
7, because that was mostly like, oh, like some quirky character showcase that happens to have a whole like water themed deck, and this is probably a little bit more like advertising sort of things, just because they were showcasing like water-based creatures. But then we got into more plot stuff with like episodes 8 and 9, which I thought was a bit more interesting, because it was nice to like not necessarily focus on Yugi so much and more get a little bit of like what's going on like Kaiba's end and seeing what he's doing with. Because I remember, at least when I was like a little kid, remember him being in the show like a lot more as like a less threatening presence. But I forgot in what capacity. So this is, I think, where I remember those little bits and pieces from. Yeah, that was all interesting. And then the shadow holographic him thing, and then that duel coming along, and, you know, Mokuba getting introduced and like sort of establishing all of that plot relevance, and like sort of moving it a bit along that way, getting some of that B plot going. Yeah, I think it was like, it's moving and grooving and sort of doing things. I guess like my whole thing is like I would have preferred a little bit more, but I don't necessarily mind like a character showcase and like showing off like cool other water monster thingies for cards, but I'm just like, we could have moved this along a little faster, but whatever.
Is that everybody for plot?
Yeah.
I get a little lost in the weeds when I talk too much.
Sorry.
No, when
Weed?
I talk too much. I kind of forgot
Wait,
the order
share.
when I was talking. Weed? What?
You have weed?
We're not even in the same room. So, yeah. But you know what? You spoke up. You want to talk characters?
That's not a no.
It sounds.
It sounds like
more
Patreon
a yes.
content.
Like, I don't have to share with you. We're not in the same room.
This sounds like Patreon content. CC, characters, go!
Characters. I loved the Shark Boy.
Wait till Lava Girl shows up. Holy shit, wait, I actually have to think. Is there a Lava Girl?
No.
Knowing this show, there should be.
Mine can be Lava Girl, because she's hot.
No, she's Harpies.
Yeah, that's the only character I really cared about. I'll give it a meh. Oh, no. Zombie Kaiba was kind of cool. I was like, whoa, did they legitimately kill him?
See, I'm a little indecisive here because I remember loving Mako when I was younger, and he just feels really weak now that I'm an adult. Also, I have a theory that his father is not lost at sea. That motherfucker tried to drown the kid. That's why he tied him down.
He went back to he went to get milk and
No,
never
he
came
jumped
climbed
off the
down to
ship.
try and drown him. And then he rode his merry little ass back to shore. And then Mako washed up and he's like, shit, the kid'll tell him I tried to kill him. So he's in hiding. But, like, it's just really weak and rushed. Like, throwing his motivation out there. Like, it comes out of left field. Mokuba's motivation for, like, going after Yugi in a situation where he's been kidnapped, I feel like is a little fucking, like, out there. I don't think it makes sense, and I know Mokuba gets better. Kaiba's a completely new character now. Like, everything we knew about him, you can kind of chuck it out the window. I did like the computer. I'm very sad she won't come back.
Sad.
The old guy but can't come to the phone right now.
He's
Why? Because he's dead.
Old Kaiba can't come to the phone. He's a zombie fighting some guy.
I just, like, they didn't really do any character work on characters that were already established, and I feel like they did a bad job with the characters they introduced. So I want to be just, like, a meh, but I feel like I have to be a light nay because the characterization was bad for the characters they did bring in. Except for the computer. But she's never coming back. And I'm sad.
Sad.
I gotta be real. I want to give this all a light yay. You're right. This is a new Kaiba, but goddamn, what an intro episode for that. Oy oy oy. He did so much and did so many things and is like.
He did
I
a
don't know.
lot, but did we actually know anything about him besides he quantum analyzed the duel? Because he's a sore fucking loser.
Yeah, man, I don't know.
He's like, how did I lose?
I knew he
I
had
don't know, I
Exodia, but how did he draw all 5 cards?
Because you wasted your time playing the game. Honestly, it is kind of surprising because Yugi's grandpa's deck sucks a bag of ass. But I don't know. I still I gotta give it at least a light yay on this because, like, goddamn, these people were fucking fun. Mako, yeah, he's a freaky fish guy. Keep calling him that. He's weird as hell, but goddamn, does he leave an impression. I can't remember. Does Unicorn Hair come back that often? I know he's here for this, but I really
Yes.
feel like he should have been a recurring character for some
He
reason.
comes
Just
back every time there's
single...
like a Mokuba segment.
No, literally every time there's a new villain, he's the henchman who gets hired.
LMAO.
That would be so great.
I do think he goes to work for the Big Five.
Okay, but yeah, they're
During
kind of
Battle
connected
City.
to this, so yeah, no, I was having fun with this. You know, Kaiba committing international terrorism. Wow, you know, zombie Kaiba,
Again.
full of puns. I love that.
I question, was it international though?
Well, he's in Japan. The server was in America, and everybody else is somewhere on an island. So I'm going to call it international.
Gotcha.
Also, it involved a satellite from space. So I don't know how you define these things. I just know that it's likely terrorism.
I mean, it was his satellite, wasn't it?
No, it was Pegasus's.
Yes.
Hmm.
Because it was, the duels were being broadcast up to that satellite.
Look, I don't know entirely what we can charge him with, but I know he's getting computer fraud, industrial espionage, some kind of other, like...
Interpol would go
Yeah,
after him. Let's-
Interpol is definitely
LMAO,
getting involved
anyone in
this.
this show getting charged for their crimes could not be Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay, yeah. If
God, the cops really
yeah.
don't exist in this universe.
Nope.
Damn. Oh well. Anyway, I still feel like I'm a light yay here. I actually thought it was a pretty also decent introduction for Mokuba, and like probably one of the few times he actually escapes something. Points to you, Mokuba. Yin, their thoughts on characters were very meh.
So for characters, I am once again somewhere between meh and light yay. Mako was okay. They made being a shark his entire personality, but whatever. I think he kind of worked for what they were sort of doing with that episode. They gave us a lot with Kaiba. I'm not sure if it was 100% great. Although I think, like, his characterization from the first part of this season to now is kind of like when someone has watched a little bit of a show, like, really likes a character, and then they take said character and they write a fanfic about said character, and they completely change their personality to fit whatever the fuck they want to do with this story.
Hold up.
Does that sound wrong?
Are you saying that the actual creator of Yu-Gi-Oh! Made Kaiba a whoopee?
Maybe.
What the fuck is a whoopee?
But that's kind of how that sort of felt, and maybe that's just me, but I'm just like, okay, this is a little bit of a 180, and maybe it's because he's, like, obsessing over the fact that he fucking lost, which, wow, okay, but I'm just like...
Always be dramatic like that.
Yeah, I guess.
He ain't never gonna let it go.
I mean, I'd imagine that boy's gonna make that whole defeat his entire personality for, like, the rest of his fucking life.
Oh, and beyond.
Yes.
His afterlife. His zombie life.
Oh, yeah. That too. Oh. Yami Yugi is going to make him relive that every single day. But, so, the corporate espionage stuff was kind of interesting with him a little bit. I did enjoy just sort of him bantering with the computer. I remembered Mokuba when I was a kid. I didn't remember him quite as much, and I didn't remember his introduction, but I was just like, whoa, okay. Bit of a drastic turn there, but all right. I guess I can see what you were doing, but no, don't steal things, child. And I know he gets better. It's just I was a little bit thrown because I'm like, why do I remember this kid not being this bad? Probably because later on in the show, he's not. And I sort of enjoyed, like, a little bit more with Pegasus, because we get to see him being a bit more devious and things. I don't really feel like we got to hang out with our main cast of characters that much this time around, but I think that was more because we need to focus on some other stuff.
I'm sorry. Pegasus with his... I don't want to be disturbed during this time where I have my Gorgonzola fruit juice in a comic book.
I did really enjoy that because I saw it come on the screen and I was like, what the fuck is this?
I was just reminded of that scene from Anchorman 2 where they're just standing in a hallway laughing at a comic book and they're like, Ron, you gotta get over here. You're missing some classic Garfield.
I was just like, the fact that they're like, yes, Gorgonzola and fruit juice.
It was wine in the original, but for kids.
Was it still just a thing of cheese that he was eating?
Wine and cheese? People do that.
They
he
do.
was
Rich,
eating
fancy
it with a
people.
fork.
A cheese fork?
Yeah.
He's reading his comic. He can't get it gross.
Yeah.
I feel like it's normally like cheese slices with like crackers or some other accoutrement, not just like
crumbs.
a wedge of cheese.
Crumbs in his comic book. No.
People will just cut pieces of cheese off and eat it like that.
He was eating it like it was cake.
Yeah.
The man likes his cheese. This is honestly the least weird part of the episode for me. I'm still trying to do math in my head with Mokuba Star Chips.
I will say, at least he's not eating string cheese and literally just eating it by the chunk instead of tearing off the strings.
Okay, he's an evil bastard. He's not a monster.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make my segment go this long. But all of that to say, like, they were doing some stuff with characters in this that I kind of enjoyed. Mega was a little boring for me, but I understand his purpose. The rest of it was just kind of silly and fun. Except, I think we all know the whole satellite crashing into the building thing. I'm like, that That's
That
not gonna
satellite was a paid
sit well with.
actor.
Yeah. Well, again, you said this came out in 2000 in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think they were thinking about that happening anywhere in the world at that point.
In fairness,
when they made
nobody
this.
was.
No. And I'm honestly surprised the 4Kids didn't take that out
Yeah.
when they aired it. But did it air? Did that episode air before that happened?
Guys, I had these episodes on VHS. It was in there.
I can see.
No, I'm just my question is that when did this episode air? Like was
Okay, this was episode 10?
9.
Or 9.
9.
9.
Uh,
November 24th, 2001.
holy shit, that's like 2 months later.
Oh.
Big L.
Yikes.
Wow. Not to take from another Anchorman quote, but boy, that escalated quickly.
Ooh.
Yeah.
God, no wonder everyone
they probably
thought
did.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Was black magic.
I mean, I think people would have thought that either way, but
Yeah.
That's a ooh, that's a big ouch there.
Does anyone know, like, would 4Kids have had, like, the episode already, like, ready to go within those 2 months?
I would think yes.
Yeah.
Like, I think maybe it would have just been, like, yes, it would have been a simple cut, but, like, maybe they'd already finalized it.
So the American air date for the first episode of season 1 was September 29th of 2001. I think
Yeah.
they were already
Yeah, I think it was
packaged and
already
ready to
just
go.
Yeah,
all
I think they were locked and
finalized.
loaded. I mean, I feel like it's would have been a very easy thing to cut. Just cut back to him typing. He's like, haha, I'm in.
They'd already made all the
Yeah.
VHSs because DVD was not a thing.
It was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think DVD came out in the late 90s.
I don't think DVD was a thing for anime yet.
Maybe
Oh,
not.
for anime.
No.
At least not in America.
Oh yeah, no.
You said you had all of these on VHS?
These 3, yes.
These
it was
3
one of-
particular episodes.
Yeah, they couldn't fit on a VHS tape, so it was like, what you got, whatever you could find, and I found a Yu-Gi-Oh tape, so I was like, I want to get this, and it was these 3 episodes.
I'm wondering if they had everything like set and ready to go and to be, put on the market, like.
Yeah, it was probably.
And then they just
already
forgot
produced.
that was in there. I'm wondering if they completely forgot about it.
It's one of those things where
Guys,
it's like they're just trying to get it out
they
there in
released
time.
The VHS tapes of Yu-Gi-Oh! In America starting in 2003.
Jesus.
They had time.
All right.
Okay, sorry, Envy.
Well, minus the bad context of these episodes, I don't know what it is. These episodes just worked for me. I had a lot of fun with the characters. Like, Mako is kind of, at first I thought he would be annoying, but by the end I grew to love him. He almost reminded me of a slightly dumber Jason Momoa Aquaman. And then Mokuba, I thought he'd be, the annoying little shithead twerp anime character that we've seen a bunch of times, but I kind of felt bad for him in a way, because, he looked up to his brother, idolized him, he got his ass kicked by what he presumed to be a newbie, and basically put his brother in a depressed state, so he never could see him anymore. Oh, and he's in he's in a company conspiracy to basically be a slave his entire life, because he can't leave, because you have to have a Kaiba technically in charge, so he'll just be a figurehead and nothing more. So you feel bad for him. And I mean, yeah, I do agree the main 4 of the trio don't get a lot of development, but I still like their interactions with each other. I still like their encouragement. It's nice to have a group of friends that, they jive with each other and, they make jokes, but at the end of the day, they still care for each other and they care for their well-being. And that's refreshing to see. I like to see that. So, yeah, overall, I had a lot of fun with the characters. I'd give it a yay.
to your point of, like, Mokubo's, it's only been 4 days, dude. His brother is not in a depressive state. He's just being a teenager.
He's not even a teenager, but I see what
He's
you're saying,
18.
but...
No,
Wait,
Kaiba's a
Mokuba?
teenager.
Oh, no, Kaiba.
Oh, yeah, I know Kaiba's a teenager. I thought
Yeah,
talking
no,
about Mokuba.
Mokuba's like, oh, he's like, ignore... It's been 4 days.
But 4 days to a child. That's so
I'm
long.
sure I've accidentally not talked to my siblings for 4 days.
Do they have parents?
No,
No.
That might be why.
they have butlers.
Like, actual hard no.
Double no.
Oh, and also I forgot to mention, too, I love Pegasus as a villain. He's the right amount of evil sass for me. Like, it's a fine balance. Like you could be over the top evil, but you got to be enjoyable with it. He's like I brought up the Emperor before, but yeah, he reminds me of Darth Sidious in a lot of ways. Just the overconfidence, the monologuing, the posing, all that kind of stuff. Like he reminds me a lot of him.
Evie, let me tell you something. You're gonna love the end of this season.
Let me guess, does he have a Death Star equivalent?
No.
No, but here's a lot more of them.
No.
I would argue his deck is probably one of the most fun decks there are.
Oh my god, yes. I kind of love that. That's
Production.
everybody.
No,
No, we're
it's
moving into
advertisement.
advertising. Cozy.
Oh, advertising.
Hey, Cozy, you ready to go off?
No, last time still has me tired.
Okay, well, you're taking it first,
And
so.
I know. I'm gonna let you tear it to shreds this time. I will
Okay.
chime in if I feel like you missed something, I guess. But
Okey-dokey.
like, yes, the card games look cool, it looks fun, but that's not how it's fucking played! They don't have anything right anymore. They're really just flying by the seat of their pants. Actually, I want to know, if the card game didn't exist yet, what the fuck were they putting all these symbols on the cards for?
Well, the
'Cause, like,
symbols.
When you look at the cards, like, it has like their typing, it has like their star level and all that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if they didn't know what that was going to be for, why did they even put that on there? They were just like, yeah, this would look fucking cool.
I'm gonna throw it out there. I don't know that a lot of them had those in the thing. Like, the cards in the show look very different. They usually just have the big picture,
They
no
did.
name
I was
on it.
paying attention. It had the element type, and it had the star level.
I think
And
to
I'm
some
like-
degree they had at least maybe some concept elements. Like, they at least had attack and defense points ideas, but to be fair, that's been around since Magic, so...
I mean, the attack and defense points don't even line up with their actual cards, though.
Field
Also,
bonuses are doing something.
Yeah, a lot of the cards don't have any special effects that they're saying they do.
No, they don't.
Like, for the jellyfish, it's just a jellyfish!
No, literally every single card Mako used was a normal type monster without an effect. I'm going to throw this out there. To some degree, and you could say this about literally every single card game that came out afterwards, this is to some degree modeled on Magic the Gathering, which includes things like a type, like a lands kind of thing, which could then translate to, dark type, light type, wind, earth, whatever, that they kind of had for Yu-Gi-Oh! They have attack and defense points type things. And I think there's a cost to Magic the Gathering. Like, you have to
like
have a certain
land
number.
tap.
Yes. And I think that was what they were looking at for stars. So I can see where they could, be like, these will be elements, even if they didn't know that what they were going to be for.
I'm just like, what were they thinking, just slapping stuff down?
Just slapping stuff down.
Not our job to figure it out, just our job to draw them.
I'm gonna hang on. I need to know when the Yu-Gi-Oh card game was made, because the manga came out before, and this is based on the manga, so the manga story, if it's being translated correctly, wouldn't know what they were doing, but they might have already made the cards by the time the anime came out, which means that they would know what they should visually look like.
Okay.
So if it was based off the manga, then wouldn't the anime be, a faithful adaptation of the manga story, even if it's not so
No,
much the cards
it is
itself?
a pretty faithful adaptation.
So then can you really fault the anime then?
Okay, I have information. So the manga came out in 1996, the card game came out in 1999, and the anime came out in 2000.
Okay,
So
so they
by
knew
the time
what
the
cards
anime came
looked
out,
like.
So
they did know what the cards
So
looked like.
isn't that though the anime that we're watching right now? What about the original anime? Wasn't that like 98?
That came out in 98, so they didn't look right.
Okay.
Or at least don't look like these ones do.
Okay,
Okay.
so I think I'm not sure if this would be production or advertising then. I think I would fault it even more because I feel like they could have tweaked these duels to make sense if they knew how their own card game worked at this point. I don't think it needed to be a faithful one-to-one adaptation. I mean, okay, so for advertising, I'm just gonna be a meh because there's a lot of issues with how they portray the game. Even though it looks cool. I think this is a production issue more than advertising.
I feel like I've said before, I'm going to be meh on all of these for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because you're right, it's very much, this looks great! And also, this is totally wrong! I will give them points for this, because you might be happy to know that eventually they did release different versions of Mako's cards that included effects that would eventually do what he did in this. But as of right now, they don't exist. So.
It's just a fucking jellyfish, bro.
Yeah. I get a lot of these things of what... Okay, should I go just into everything?
Tear it apart. Tear it apart.
Yeah, so the ocean doesn't hide your monsters at all. Like we said before, the fields just add a couple points. That's it, unless it's a special field, but we don't make special
hides your
fields yet.
monsters being face down.
Yeah, but he didn't play him face down. He didn't do that. All of these are normal type monsters, which don't include effects like absorbing electricity, which is also not a thing. We're just gonna throw that out there. Oh God, what else? He destroyed his land so that he couldn't place any more monsters except in the water, which would have drowned them or something. Not a thing. Sort of is a thing eventually with the effect monster variant versions of Mako's cards, which is kind of cool. What else?
The moon.
Oh, yeah. I'm just going to throw this out there. Did anyone else notice? Well, you guys wouldn't have noticed. Kozi, did you notice the Mythic Moon card is not the actual art of the Mythic Moon card? It's literally just a picture of the real moon.
I did not.
I had to pause it is that literally just a picture of the actual real world moon? Why?
No, I did
is it
not
hard to draw a moon?
that.
I don't know why. It just seemed really
circle.
funny. No, it was a picture of the moon, man. Because I had that card, and that moon's supposed to be yellow. Why does it look like the real moon? And I looked oh, that's an actual picture of the moon. That's weird.
That is weird.
We've already talked Curse of Dragon and Burning Lands is not a thing. God, what else? Oh, yes.
Yuki
So
did
that
2
moon
attack
card.
phases.
That's something, but more than that, that moon card only adds power to a beast monster, so he used it correctly, but then Mako's but that also means that I get to summon super fish because the tides and whatnot, and then Yugi's well, I'll blow up the moon!
Also, that's...
I attack the... How did I not bring up I attack the
spell
moon?
cards and trap cards.
Here's the
unless
thing.
That's, your monster special effect.
Yes, and when Silverfang went down, the moon went with him. It should have just left, but no, I attack the moon! And now the ocean's gone!
He's clearly channeling his inner Piccolo.
It's one of the funniest and dumbest scenes of the entire episode, man. Awful. Stupid. Wonderful. But God, that's dumb.
Didn't Mako, attack him with all 3 monsters at once at one point?
Yeah.
That's not a thing.
3. Yeah. No.
You don't just get to attack with all of them and add their cumulative attack points up.
Nope. Not a thing. Honestly, outside of that, the other two had such short duels and they were so basic, like, I'm going to play a monster thing, that I'm like, I don't even have complaints about Kaiba and Yugi's duel and Yugi and Mokuba's very short duel, but god damn was Mako's a complete load of nonsense.
Again, I'm not gonna get over, like, he took a second attack phase after his turn was already over.
Mm-hmm.
Aha, I destroyed your monsters, and now it is end phase, except I'm going to attack you with my same monsters again!
Mm-hmm.
Haha!
Oh, God. Anyway, I think that's about what I wanted to say.
So did you end up giving it a meh then?
Yeah, no, it's always going to have to be a meh, because, like, especially for this season, it's like, this looks so cool and interesting, but also, this is such BS. Oh, God, Yin, you're right. Yeah, I got a little too in my own thing. They also give it a meh.
I think I'll also, like, give it a meh. Again, I think, like, the creatures are all very cool and everything. So visually, good for advertising. Again, it's, like, I think what everyone said, and I know, like, the last time we talked about Yu-Gi-Oh!, like, I wasn't really someone who played the game, so I didn't really care for the rules. So, like, for some people, rules for advertising don't really, like, matter as far as, like, if you want to play the actual game instead of just collect the things. Because sometimes it's more just like, oh, here, take my money. Am I actually going to use it? No. I just, like, I don't know. I found this one kind of underwhelming as far as advertising goes. Like, I was less, like, focused on this because, like, we're going to see a bunch of duels. Like, all right, this is, like, a one-off sort of thing. I don't really care about this one. I want to move on to the other stuff. So this is, like, less... Even though it's an advertising piece, I feel like this one was just kind of, like, lackluster because I can already tell that this one isn't really plot relevant, so I don't really care. And that's all I have to say.
I kind of see everybody's point because, yeah, if the anime is not telling you the right way to play it and you play it in real life and you expect to play it off the anime, then yeah, you're going to have a bad time. But we've seen other shows in this competition where they do explain to you how to play the game, but yet I really wasn't that cared about it. Whereas with this show, I am invested. I would actually like to play Yu-Gi-Oh! In real life now and learn about the game. So if it got me interested in the franchise, it makes me interested in trying it, then I think it works in that way as well. So I'll be fair and give it a meh, but it's more of a, I could dig this, but probably not in the way that they probably originally intended.
I mean, okay, me and Al are going hard on it, but it's like the same way that, like, Pokemon doesn't actually advertise how to play Pokemon in any iteration.
I think to some degree the anime is a little better at portraying Pokemon than this is at portraying Yu-Gi-Oh!
No. Mm-mm.
Well, we'll never know. Pokemon didn't make it this far. Why don't I take us into production?
Wait, wasn't this CC?
Oh, shit. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, do I have to?
Yeah.
Nay for me. I'm not interested.
Okay, now I will take us into production. I'm a light yay here. I still think this is I still like the look of this show. I like the opening. The lines are funny every now and then. We're getting a couple more funny 4Kids. I love that line read of, "It's not him." I don't know what it was about that. That one got me. Yeah, it's fun. The monsters and stuff. I mean, this is kind of advertising, but the creatures all look cool, and I got no complaints. Light yay. It's not perfect, but it's pretty damn good. Yin's thoughts on production for Yu-Gi-Oh! Are a light nay.
Ooh.
No explanation.
No critiques?
I will go with, like, a light yay. I don't really have any issues with this. Animation, I think, was fine for its time, and, creature designs are all good. I think dubbing was great. Dubbing was good. Yeah, I don't really have any major complaints.
To me, this was 4Kids done right. Like, obviously, there are some questionable censorship, namely the finger guns, but at the same time, do you still remember it all these years later? Yes, because it's so ridiculous. And like the actual animation for early 2000 or late 90s, early 2000s still looks appealing. Like the monsters look cool, and yeah, the dubbing cast is it A+ dubbing? No, but they're entertaining, and I think they do a decent enough job of what they're given. I mean, I don't know what accent Joey is, but I think it's some kind of an accent.
Brooklyn.
Is it? Oh, it's
I
Brooklyn?
think.
Okay.
We assume.
I didn't want to say it was a stereotype,
It
but
is.
if it okay. Yeah, I don't know. I had fun with it. So yeah, it's a light yay for plot. Not plot, production.
Production, I'll give a yay. It's fine. I don't really have any complaints.
I think I'm gonna have to be a meh here. Like, animation is okay. I feel like some of the dub actors are really good, but like, again, I loved Mako as a kid, and wow, rewatching was it underwhelming. Him and Kiwo both. I will talk like this. Yes, it is a normal way to talk. Like, it was weird. It was uncomfortable. Like, it really did kind of, like, kill some of my enjoyment during the rewatch. Also, I feel like we've had very noticeable animation drop. Some of that maybe we're just not seeing as much of the duels right now. But, like, there was really nothing, like, super well done in these episodes. It was just okay. Also, that song was weird. No one else is going to talk about it. I will.
That.
It was weird.
Honestly, in one ear out the other, I kind of wanted to forget it.
Oh,
I think they
made
were
Kaiba a little theme song as he was escaping.
I might be completely wrong, but I feel like it was sung by the guy who voiced Kaiba.
Well, that's even funnier.
LOL.
Oh, great. He's doing his own theme music?
Do you think
Oh
that
my
was
God.
in the original, or do you think that was a 4
That was a
edition?
4 kids thing.
Oh no, it was absolutely
Oh, that has
because I think I can actually explain this one. So you guys remember when the Pokemon came out with like a soundtrack
Yes.
and it honestly was kind of great?
Mm-hmm.
They tried to do that with Yu-Gi-Oh! And that was one of the tracks on it. I think it was like called Songs to Duel By or something. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, they
Oof,
tried to release that.
They did the songs to read / study to before it was even a thing.
No,
My
that
dude,
makes me
4 Kids was
more
ahead of
like
its time.
think of the playlist for like fucking that people have.
Ugh.
Mine is the
Songs
Pokemon
to
soundtrack.
Duel 2.
But yeah, that was one of the ones on there.
Yin, into final thoughts.
Yin, into final thoughts. Yin, what were your final thoughts? I'm not doing an impression of them again. That went horribly. I think they gave it a light yay. They gave Fieble light yay.
Fiber?
They gotta learn to type a little better.
I will also give it a light yay. I thought this was, at least interesting to watch, and I'm sort of interested to see where it's going with, like, the corporate espionage bits, because I feel like that little, like, B-plot's sort of picking up, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a yay for me because I have to confess, I did watch episode 10 after episode 9 because I did want to know what happened after that cliffhanger, regardless if this moves on or not. Because that was a hell of a cliffhanger to just end on. Like, come on.
Envy, I'm surprised you haven't binged this season yet.
No,
It's considerable
Yeah.
restraint.
Well done, Envy.
well, I mean, number one, with all the current anime that I'm watching this season, but anyway, I'm not going to get into that tangent. Yeah, I'm very, like, am I going to go out and binge the remaining 30 episodes or so? Like, I think there's like 49 episodes in this season.
49 for this season, yeah.
Okay, so am I going to binge all of it all at once? No, but would it be something where it's like, you know what, maybe if I'm bored one day, I want to watch a couple episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! and gradually build towards it, yeah, I might do that. Because I had a lot of fun with this. I could totally see why this was such a beloved anime for a lot of kids back in the day. So yeah, it's a yay for me.
It's a meh for me. I don't hate it, but I don't get it. I would be fine if it's on in the background sometimes, but I'm not going to be invested in it.
I'm like between a meh and a light yay. I had looked at like the episode names last week and I'm like, oh, it'll be Mako, and then I saw Duel with a Ghoul, so I thought it was gonna be the Bones episode. So like I was like, oh hell yeah, Mako and Bones, like fucking amazing. And then like I actually had to go look, and the Bones section is so far away, and I don't know if I care about all the stuff in between. Like I'm still more of the mindset like, rather than rewatching every episode, I really just kind of want to watch my favorite parts again.
I feel like I'm a light yay here. I'm still enjoying this. That is a good cliffhanger to end on. You have their like halfway duel thing, even though you really draw out these duels a little bit. But you're dueling a zombie. That's kind of interesting. I don't know. Yeah, the I think part of what helps is that they are kind of going with the actual plot and like the stuff with Kaiba and everything, and that really helps. It's still fun, and god damn it, it's enjoyable. Even though I've seen this before, and these particular episodes I've seen a bunch of times, and yet I still was looking forward to seeing stuff in it, and I'm still looking forward to seeing more of it. So I'll give it a light yay. Again, these are not like, it's not perfect. They got their problems, and like the more scrutiny I put them under, the more I'm like, oh my god, this is weird. But at the same time, it's still enjoyable. So I give it a light yay, and I'm looking forward to if we continue to see the last episode that Tristan's voice actor is there. Because I think he switches after episode 10.
I will say, I think in the gauntlet of episodes coming up, I think the next one is going to be like that exterminator guy. The one who had like the big dual gloves that had like 3 rows of star chips.
He is coming up, but before that, we got to deal with Rex.
Oh shit, right.
Speed Racer's brother?
No, that
yes,
annoying
exactly.
kid with the little purple flute.
No, exactly. Speed Racer's brother.
Okay, I'm down.
Okay, I think we
Whatever
should.
it takes to convince somebody.
I think it's time to see the verses of all this and get down to it. Blackrock Shooter versus Yu-Gi-Oh! Who's going to come out on top? Chibi, I think you're starting us off. Who's getting your A for plot?
So, for plot, for me, it's gonna be Yu-Gi-Oh! I feel like, for Black Rock Shooter, I feel like there was just so much it was trying to accomplish and say with the very little time that it sort of had. I feel like they kind of needed to maybe cut it down if they were only limited to 8 episodes. Whereas I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! Is very much following, like, plot progression. Even though we definitely had like one episode that was very much like a filler, mostly for just showing off water monsters, but yeah.
It's funny that Speed Racer was brought up just a second ago, because that is pretty much a perfect analogy of why I'm giving plot to Yu-Gi-Oh! Yes, are there things in Yu-Gi-Oh! That either don't make sense or are completely batshit insanity? Yes, but it's a fun batshit insanity, just like Speed Racer was. And I felt like with Black Rock Shooter, it fizzled at the end. It's kind of unfortunate that, we watched the final episodes of Black Rock Shooter versus, still early on in the show for Yu-Gi-Oh! But I guess that's how the way it was. And when you kind of fizzled a little bit on your conclusion versus still keeping the intrigue and still keeping the fun, at least for me, I'm going to give it to Yu-Gi-Oh! Not that I thought Black Rock Shooter's plot was horrible. There was things about it that I did like, but I had a lot more fun with Yu-Gi-Oh!
I'm expecting to be alone in this, but I'm giving it to Black Rock Shooter because it was interesting, and I did not find Yu-Gi-Oh! Very interesting.
I am also giving it to Black Rock Shooter. I don't have the issue of I don't really understand what was going on or like have a bunch of unanswered questions, but I have more knowledge of the entire franchise, so like I'm not starting out in the same place. I don't have like the same handicap as you guys do. So like that didn't really hamper my enjoyment of the plot. So
It's weird that we keep bringing up Speed Racer, because I just thought to myself, how much, like, crazy terrorism do you think there is in Yu-Gi-Oh? A lot
More than
more
you
than you'd
think.
expect. I think you guys said everything that I would be saying as well. I really wanted to write like Black Rock Shooter, but it did. Like, I feel like the plot just didn't do it for me at the end of the day, and Yu-Gi-Oh's did, so I gotta give it to Yu-Gi-Oh! Yin also gave plot to Yu-Gi-Oh! So Yu-Gi-Oh! Takes the plot, and then we move now into characters. Envy, who gets your yay?
You can argue that the characters of Black Rock Shooter had more development. You can argue that the characters of Black Rock Shooter had more depth to them, probably. But, and I don't want to seem like I'm a simpleton that just enjoys simple things, but I just had more fun with the characters of Black Rock, with Yu-Gi-Oh!
almost shot yourself in the foot.
I know, I swerved around there, almost came full circle, but I like the main four, even though yes, two of them don't actually fight in duels yet, but I like their camaraderie with each other. I like Mako. I came around to the little brother a little bit, and the twist with Kaiba I did not see coming, and I actually enjoyed that a lot. And Pegasus is deliciously over the top. Whereas with the characters with Black Rock Shooter, I don't mind them. I like where they ended up at the very end, but at the same time, I felt like they were more catalysts for emotional trauma and emotional damage to the anime rather than, fleshing them out to their fullest extent. So that's kind of how I viewed it.
Envy, let me ask you, do you think Pegasus is as delicious as Gorgonzola cheese and my favorite fruit juice?
You know what? I think it's even funnier that they changed it in the 4Kids dub to juice instead of wine, because just make him even more extra. Instead of him reading a comic book, make him do like
Porn.
Highlights, those old books. No, those highlight books from back in the day. You would read
Highlights.
you read in the children's, you read in doctors' offices and stuff like that. Do that. Make him do that.
I found the 3 differences, but where's the 4th?
There you go. Keep doing that.
That would be hilarious with the Millennium Eye.
I can read minds, but I can't read the mind of the person who made these pictures. God, we need more of him.
Have you guys seen that meme that's like, I really want children to be judges on cooking shows so they can serve like this super fancy meal, like, oh, this would cost you like $100 in a restaurant. It's made with the
They're
finest
like,
ingredients.
it's not chicken nuggets.
Yeah, if it's not a dinosaur shaped, I won't eat it. That's my taste most of the time. Unlike Envy, I will happily say I like random things for random reasons, and a little too much. I really liked Mako.
Mako.
That feels wrong.
Like the shark.
Yeah, I liked him more than I...
Okay, technically you're right. It would be Mako, but
Yeah.
how they did it in English is Mako.
It was like Mako Mermaids. Yeah, I liked him more than I liked any other characters, and also more than I disliked any other characters. So I'll give it to Yu-Gi-Oh!
I am going to abstain. I did not like either of the show's characterization for these episodes, so.
I'm going to throw this out there. This is going to sound like I'm talking about plot, but in a way, I am and I am not. I'm going to give characters for myself to Yu-Gi-Oh! And part of that is because, weirdly enough, both of these shows, for these episodes, had character plot twists. One was revealing that the character we thought we knew, we didn't actually know it was someone else. And the other one was like, this character's dead, and we're giving you proof that they're dead, but then suddenly they're not dead. I cared about the one in Yu-Gi-Oh! Though, and I didn't care about the one in Blackrock Shooter because I didn't care about that Blackrock Shooter character. Despite the fact that these people are a bunch of idiots, god damn it, they're far more engaging and I like them more. I don't know what to tell you there, so I give that to Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yin also goes to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay. So, Yu-Gi-Oh! Takes characters. Cece, I think you're up for advertising, right?
I'm giving it to Yu-Gi-Oh! While it's not effective for me, I can recognize that it is effective, and also, I agree with Yin. I don't think Blackrock Shooter should win this.
I don't think it can, but
No.
I'm also gonna give it to Yu-Gi-Oh! I think both of them are actually effective at advertising what they want. For me, it comes down to I personally wouldn't buy into Blackrock Shooter, and I obviously did buy into Yu-Gi-Oh! So even though there are a lot of issues with how it's portrayed, it's still the one I'm more likely to buy.
Yeah, I kind of got the same thought there. I got to give it to Yu-Gi-Oh! I've said before, I don't know what Blackrock Sellers was trying to sell me. You keep saying waifus, but I know Yu-Gi-Oh's trying to sell me cards. So, not well, but, they're doing it. Yin gave advertising to Yu-Gi-Oh!
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 Okay, the Yugis have it, and they take advertising. Moving on into production, Kozi, who gets your yay?
It's gotta be Blackrock. I'm sorry. You can't... I know you have an issue with, you think it's production, which I did look it up. It was Fuji. Fuji Air is the one who decided how many episodes and what time slot it got. I know you think that ties into, the actual production of it, but I don't think it really has any bearing with what they put out. And what they put out is really fucking phenomenal for what they had to work with.
I agree. Not with whether I should count the thing or not, but, this is, I said, it's an absolutely beautiful show. It looks good. It sounds good. Even the dub's good. I mean, granted, our 4Kids dub on Yu-Gi-Oh! Was actually pretty fun this episode, but, this is actually, good. You gotta give the yay to Blackrock Shooter on that one. Yin, I'm assuming, actually had the same thought, so they're Blackrock Shooter as well.
I will probably be the only one that'll give it to Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's mostly just because, I don't know what it is. And maybe it's just the art style for both segments of Blackrock Shooter just don't really work for me. I know y'all think it's probably gorgeous, but there is something about 3D animation that just doesn't sit with me very well, particularly when it's put side by side with just 2D, whether it's digital or not. So I feel like that is one of the elements that is definitely knocking it for me. Whereas Yu-Gi-Oh! Just sort of has a consistent art style, and I think that's why I would give my vote to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Be honest with us here, Chibi. It was Kaiba singing his own theme song, wasn't it?
No,
I mean,
it really wasn't.
You gave Blackrock a light nay, so
We're not surprised.
yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a lot of fun, and obviously I didn't bring it up this time because it's overplayed at this point, but the intro is still iconic. But yeah, Blackrock Shooter is easily the better animated show. Not even the fact that it was made probably 15 years after or 10 years after Yu-Gi-Oh! Came out, but just in terms of style, in terms of unique ability, it's better. So yeah, it's Blackrock.
Yep, Blackrock.
Well, Blackrock definitely took production pretty handily. And we move now into final thoughts. I'm leading us off on this. For me, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! I want to continue watching. BlackRock, I'm interested in seeing what a reinterpretation of this story would be. But continuing from where we are, well, 1 is difficult, but 2 is kind of... I wasn't interested. So, Yu-Gi-Oh! Yin's thoughts are... also Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh!
I'll probably watch the OVA of BlackRock Shooter just to do a compare and contrast and it's also 50 minutes, so it's not like it's a major time commitment. But yeah, in terms of the franchise itself, I really don't have much of an interest to look out the game anymore. I don't even know what type of game it is. If it's like a third-person shooter or an RPG, I don't even know what type of game it is. And then as far as the other anime,
dungeon crawl RPG.
Okay. And then as far as the actual sequel anime or follow-up anime, I heard it didn't get that good reviews. Like, I think it's got like a 5 or a 6 on Mal right now, so it's not like it's that probably that high regarded as well.
I am looking, and there is a naked man.
I'm sorry, what now?
There is a naked man
In the show?
Yeah.
Okay. Good for him,
No.
I
Are they
guess.
still middle schoolers? I'm
No,
concerned.
this is
God, I
this
hope
is
not.
completely like game world.
Okay.
Yeah, it's BlackRock Shooter's universe now. But yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm invested, and I want to see more. So Yu-Gi-Oh!
I enjoyed BlackRock Shooter much more, but I don't think it has a spot in this tournament, so I will give it to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Dropped a picture in the Discord.
Oh, he's not naked.
He's naked.
He's got a sticker covering up his junk.
I'm also gonna give it to Yu-Gi-Oh! I am very content with where BlackRock Shooter ends. I don't feel like there's a need to continue it. I'm interested in Dawnfall, but that's more like an independent thing. Oh, he also has luscious lips. Oh, I'm terrified.
I was zooming in trying to read his tattoos, and I was like, no, we're gonna zoom back out, actually.
Okie
Oh.
dokie. Well, in any
It's
case...
scary.
Well, that's something to discuss at a later time. For now, we should... Whoa, okay, never mind. Yeah, I don't want to see that.
It's scary.
So, Yu-Gi-Oh! Takes final thoughts, and they almost took every single other category. So they take the win. They are our first finalist for this tournament, which feels oddly appropriate for a show about card game tournaments.
Well, just dueling in general.
Yeah. They're
We're-
a contender going in right to the end. So
Didn't
they'll be
all the
moving
card
on and
game
facing
shows have
whoever.
tournaments?
What's up?
Didn't all the card game shows have tournaments?
Yeah, but this one we actually
Okay.
got to. So yeah, they're moving on. They will fight whoever wins next week. But before we do that, do we have any final thoughts for BlackRock Shooter before we drop it out? Why do you keep putting these in here? I don't want to see these. Are these from the the other BlackRock Shooter show?
This is from Dawnfall.
Cool. Glad it's not moving on. Jesus.
That's all the same man.
And thank you for your time, BlackRock Shooter. You did spark joy, and now it's time for you to move on.
Just remember, this show beat out Transformers in the tournament.
Jesus Christ.
The Transformers show isn't good.
I think it could have gotten better. Well, anywho, we should talk about next week. Because next week we're finishing up the rest of the semi-finals. We have the other 2 winners of our categories. We have the Monster Friends winner, Digimon, going up against the Battle Toys winner, Beyblade. And then whoever goes on from that faces Yu-Gi-Oh! And we crown a champion in 2 weeks, people.
Woo!
Oh boy, I'm ready for this. I'm
Done
ready to
with
see
this.
who wins this all.
Also, look forward. Return of Envy's robot voice.
Ooh, yeah, I forgot about that. That'll be fun. Why is it always for Digimon?
You really should have
Anywho.
skipped last Digimon. Just phoned it in.
I guess we'll
Digimon's on.
I guess we'll have to find out next week. So come join us and see how this whole thing shakes out. We'll see you then. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!